Hi, my name is Kelly Vaughn, and I am a speech language pathologist from Murray State University. Thank you for joining me on this video, and I hope you enjoy it. So today I want to talk with you about some things that you can do at home as a parent to help encourage speech sound production um, for your child. And so we know that speech sound production is when children have difficulty saying certain speech sounds. In times like this, it's really hard to be able to um, get to a therapy office to be able to see a therapist. But this video is in hopes to empower you as a parent to know that there are things that you can do at home to help encourage your child to be able to say their speech sounds. And so today's video is going to be focusing on what you can do to help with the speech sounds K and G, although all the interventions that I'm going to share with you are able to work on any sound that your child might be missing. But today is going to focus on K and G. And so when I talk with my kiddos about our speech sounds, I like to give them fun names to help them be able to understand not only what the sounds are that I'm working on them with, but also how we want them to produce. So with K and G, we call them our throat sounds. The reason we do this is when you produce your K and G, you produce those with your tongue pulled far back in your mouth. So the back of your tongue hits the back of your mouth. And so the same thing with G, 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 they're produced in the back of your mouth. And so this just helps the kids to bring awareness to the sounds that they're not able to use and where they are actually produced in the mouth. And so we talk about with K and G, our throat sounds k and our throat sounds g. You might notice me touching my throat a lot because that's another type of cue that we use for our clients just to help them understand that we are making those sounds in the back of our mouth and in the back of our throat. So we touch our throat to bring awareness to that sound. And so I want to talk about, like I said before, 2 intervention strategies that you can do as a parent to help your child be able to learn how to produce their missing speech sounds. And so the first one we are going to do is called auditory bombardment. And so basically what this intervention does is it helps bring awareness to your targeted speech sounds. It's kind of like step 1 for us. A lot of times kids don't have any awareness that they're missing these speech sounds or that these speech sounds even exist and that they don't have them. And so we as speech pathologists and you as a parent can do a lot of things to help the child start to understand that these speech sounds are there and they're something that we like to use. And so with auditory bombardment, the goal is to say any word that you can that has their target sound. So for this one would be K and G, and just talk about them a lot in your environment. So you're going to be walking around your house talking about everything that has a K or a G in it. So one of the easiest ways to do that is through a game of I Spy. Right now, we're all quarantined into our house, and so it's really easy to go around and have a game of I Spy with your kids. So if I were you and I was working on our K's and G's, I might say, okay, let's see. I spy something that has our throat sound in it that is orange and says meow because I have a cat at my house. And so the kid would go, "Oh, it's a cat. It's a cat." And he'd say, "Yeah, that's right. It is our throat sound cat. You're right. Cat has our throat sound in it. Good job. What do you see?" And then the child's going to take their turn. And then when it comes to you, you're going to always make sure that you are pointing out sounds that have a K or G in it. So maybe you say, "I spy something that has our throat sound in it that is something that you can chew and makes our breath smell minty." And so the child would say, "Oh, you're talking about gum. Oh, you're right. We are talking about our throat sound gum. Oh, I love to use our throat sound gum." And so by doing this, you are bringing awareness that those words have the speech sound that we are wanting to talk about. This is something super easy. You don't have to do this in the I Spy game. Just anytime if you're sitting down for a certain period of time with your kid and you just want to start talking about all the things in the room that have our throat sounds in it, our K's and our G's, just bringing awareness to that is something that you can do. Another great activity that you can use while you're at home is through book reading. And so while you're reading a book with your child, all you have to do is point out again those simple throat sounds, those k and g, in the words that you're reading. And so if you're reading a book about a goat, every time it talks about that goat, you're going to say, oh, look, we're talking about our throat sound goat. Oh, look, he's going to the throat sound gate. Did you see that? He's eating the throat sound cake. And just bringing awareness to those sounds is really a super easy thing that you can do as a parent. So the next intervention strategy that we're going to talk about that you can use as a parent is what we call minimal pairs. And if you were to Google this, another term that you might find is called minimal oppositions. But basically what minimal pairs are is we take two words, that one of them that has our speech sound target in it, so we're going to be talking about K's and G's, and we pair it with a word that has another sound in it. So typically kids who have K and G problems, they replace their K's with T's and their G's with D's. It's very, very common. And so you're going to be pairing words that have just one speech sound different in it. So let's take key, for instance. We're going to pair key with T, because the only difference between those two words is that first initial sound. Key with our throat sound K in it, and our T, which is what our child replaces that sound with. And so we use these minimal pairs to help the child understand that, again, that these speech sounds exist in our language, and that maybe what they are saying is not exactly what they mean. And so we use these minimal pairs to help the child understand that maybe what they're saying is not really what they're meaning. And so one of the ways that you can do this is through maybe a slap, point, swat game. And let me show you an example of that on my screen. So let me turn my screen around so that you can see what I have. So here's some examples of some minimal pairs that have to do with our throat sounds K and G. So we have key and T, like we've already talked about. Kick and tick, those only differ by that very first speech sound, K and T. We got some G examples over here. We have deer and gear, and we have date and gate. So both of those, all of those examples only are different by the one speech sound. And so what you can do is you could have this printed out, or you could have on your computer screen, however you wanted to do it. One of the things that we know is our kids really like to slap or hit things with fly swatters, and so it's one of the things that I tell my clinicians that we are able to do. Of course, under supervision, otherwise they might get a little wild, but it is something that they really enjoy doing. So you could have this screen right here in front of you, or this paper printed out, and you would ask your child to either swat with a fly swatter, maybe slap with their hand, or even just point to the words that you say. And so you're going to say, can you find our throat sound gear? So then the child is going to point to this. Can you find T? Can you find deer? Awesome. So they do really great job because they can find all the pictures that you named. So then you're going to turn it around and you're going to ask the child to tell you what they need, what you need to slap or point to. So the child's going to say, I want you to hit T. You hear the word T, so you hit T. They say the word deer, so you hit deer. The child says T again, but you know that they really mean key. You go ahead and hit what you hear them say. And just keep doing this, and eventually it will cause what we call some communication frustration. And so you say, oh, you're saying the word T. Do you mean our throat sound key? And so you would point to that. All right. So you can do this as many times as you want to. You don't want to cause too much frustration for your child, but it is something that you can do to help bring the awareness of those speech sounds, that what they're saying is not what you want them to. And so let's see if I can get back to me. Here we are. So those are two evidence-based interventions that you can easily do at home as a parent to help your child produce those speech sounds, or at least bring awareness to those speech sounds that are missing in their communication right now. So thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.